Hey guys, welcome back to my channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now today's video we're going to be continuing the theme of small cap MJ companies. This one's called TGOD, or the Green Organic Dutchman. It trades on the Canadian and US exchange, and its share price has been absolutely beaten up over the last couple of years. Now it's been a really exciting month for small caps in this space. We had some big acquisition news from Canopy last week, and I wanted to continue reporting on these companies because I think there's a lot of potential for them in the next 6 to 18 months as federal US legalization comes into play. Now, if you haven't already, please take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think of this analysis on TGOD and if you're currently holding any shares of this company. Now, without further ado, let's roll the intro clip and get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today we're going to be talking about TGOD, also known as the Green Organic Dutchman. Now this is a really exciting company. This one's had a relatively long history in the MJ space. Their business model has grown and changed a lot over the last few years, and I really wanted to dive into this one and talk about some of the progress that they've made and their change in share price over the last couple of years, because it really is quite dramatic. Now, in addition to that, they just reported Q4 and year-end earnings on March 9th, so about a month ago. They're showing some good numbers, and we're going to go over that at the end of the video and talk about my thoughts on this company moving forward. Now, obviously, this was an exciting week in the MJ space. There's lots of movement. We had a big acquisition announced between Canopy and Supreme, so I think this space is very exciting right now. And obviously, with pending federal US legalization, it's going to be a really important sector to watch over the next 6 to 18 months. Now, to kick things off here, I wanted to take a look at the share price over the last couple of years for TGOD. So you can see this company was actually trading up in the $7-8 range back in late 2018, and at one point in time this was actually one of the biggest players in the entire MJ space. This company received a ton of attention and the share price absolutely went bananas. So now, since then, it's pulled back considerably. It's sitting at a fraction of that price now, and as of close on Friday, April 9th, it was actually sitting at 34 cents Canadian. So it was down 4% on Friday. But if you compare that to the price of this company a few years ago, it's really astonishing considering where their business model is now compared to where it was back then. And it really goes to show you how stocks can get ahead of themselves and get overly hyped up and then fall down dramatically just based on investor sentiment. So if we now zoom into a 6-month and we take a little bit more recent view of the chart, you can see this company is essentially traded flat. It was at 32 cents back in October of 2020, and it's now sitting, like we mentioned, at 34 cents today here in April. So there hasn't been a lot of movement. It did see a big share price increase in early February up to about 60 cents. That's when we saw strength in this entire industry, and since then it has pulled back. Now, based on the business model that I'm going to go through in this presentation, I think this share price is actually pretty interesting. This company has a lot more depth and a much bigger product offering than I initially suspected, and we're going to look at that now, but they really have expanded. They've got a lot of retail distribution points. They've got a very impressive cultivation or grow facility, and they're expanding into 2.0 derivative products at a very quick rate. So I'm excited to take you guys through this, and we're going to jump in here. But before we do, I did want to just mention this company does obviously trade on the OTC as well in the US, and on that side of things they trade under the ticker symbol TGODF, so TGODF, and they closed at 27 cents American as of Friday. In terms of market cap, they're sitting at about 142 million on the US side, and if we jump back to the Canadian listing, they're sitting at about 180 million. So very similar to some of the other companies we've been looking at, such as Tilt, Valens, WheatMD. It's kind of that small cap penny stock status, which, as you guys know, I really like in terms of potential upside and limited downside. And one thing that was cool about this Fire or Supreme acquisition we saw last week is big companies are currently rallying for position and trying to build their brand portfolios for the pending federal US legalization. And I think some of these smaller players are going to start to get acquired and gobbled up, which gives investors like myself and you guys the opportunity to see those big 50-60% share price premiums from buyouts or acquisitions in this space. Now, in terms of TGOD's overall vision, it really does say it in the name, but their goal is to become the leading organic MJ brand globally by making life better for their customers and members of this MJ community in general. Now, if we jump over to the company website, you can see them talking about this organic story and their organic process. We believe in crafting the purest products possible, better for you and better for the environment. And if you scroll down here, you can see some of their claims to fame are certified organically grown MJ. It's grown in living soil, uses natural elements including sunlight and rainwater. The product is hand selected and hand trimmed, and then it's slow dried and cured. So it really does take that curated concept to the next level, and this company strongly believes in providing the best quality and most natural product to their end consumer. Now, as we scroll through here, you can see they talk about their organic certification. So at TGOD, all MJ is grown organically and certified by ProCert, which is a third-party, internationally recognized organic accredited body, and that ensures that they meet these strict guidelines in terms of the Organic Federation of Canada. We then talk about the living soil. So they actually plant their product in soil from various Canadian ecosystems, which include glacial rock dust, maple syrup, and crab meat. So you do get that benefit of actual microbes, enzymes, and minerals in the soil that's used in this end product. They then talk about the sunlight and rainwater. So they use 100% purified rainwater, and their LED greenhouse lights are used in combination with real sun to give the plants what they need and result in that quality flower. Products are then hand selected and trimmed. Their product is then slow dried and cured for an additional 10 days to really bring out that flavor and aroma. And their top shelf product, which is actually packaged in glass jars, allows the product to continue to ripen or mature even once it does hit store shelves. And I think it's really important to spend some time on this process and understand how seriously they do take the curation of their MJ. When you look at some of the other LPs that really focus on the quantity of output, they really don't take the same attention that this company does. And I think the fact that they've named their company the Green Organic Dutchman really speaks to the importance that this company places on the organic growth cycle itself. So now that we've looked at actually how they curate and cultivate the products, we're going to look at the product offering or the brand portfolio that TGOD has assembled. So they have their TGOD line, which is actually the premium brand for MJ connoisseurs. And you can see this is offered in a variety of different packaging and products. We're going to look at their actual product lineup in a little bit more detail, but this is a high level here. So you can see they offer various teas. They obviously offer the flower itself in both jars and vacuum sealed bags. They then are now moving into the gummies or edible space, and they've also introduced this Ripple product, which is a dissolvable MJ concentrate that you can pour into coffees, teas, whatever you'd like to really enhance that experience. They then have their Highly Dutch brand. This is targeted more at mainstream MJ consumers. It's still organic. It still maintains those high caliber or high quality inputs that we saw in the TGOD brand, but it's meant to appeal to a much broader segment of the MJ market. And what I really like about this product offering, you can see that 30% of the packaging sold was actually in the 1 ounce or 28 gram format. And some of the other companies like WeedMD, for example, has really focused on smaller containers. And I think going after the bigger or bulk packaging here and allowing people to buy an ounce at a time is really beneficial. And it really starts to build that brand loyalty because people get into the habit of using the product over and over, and they don't have to go to the store, the dispensary as many times and make as many buying decisions. So I think this is really smart from TGOD and something I wish that some of these other companies would really start to follow suit with. Now they are planning on expanding this portfolio as well to include things like hash, and this is something we haven't seen a lot in some of the other videos, so I'm excited to see how they roll this out as well. So this slide shows the full product portfolio in more detail like I just mentioned there 2 slides ago. So you can see they've got all the different offerings here from left to right, and then they've got the different variants of that offering from top to bottom. So for the flower, for example, you can see the different strains. So Organic Fire, Organic GG number 4, Highly Dutch Amsterdam Sativa, on and on. They've then got the oil offering, both THC and CBD formats. After that is what they call these infusers. So these are actually dissolvable powders, both again THC and CBD, that you can mix into any number of drinks or food recipes. After that is teas. So they've got hibiscus, green tea, and chamomile, all of which are infused again with either THC or CBD. They generally come in packs of either 4 or 10, and this is unique to this company and something I haven't seen a lot of these other MJ producers offering. Next up is vapes. They then have hash, which we just talked about on the previous slide. They've now got edibles, which they're branding under this Ripple Gummies banner. Currently they offer blood orange, but they are looking to expand the variety and flavors of that offering as well. And then they have planned future launches, which include chocolates, beverages, sports recovery drinks, and topicals. So this was really impressive to me. I personally didn't know that TGOD had this amount of variety in their product offering, and it was really exciting to see, especially things like the tea, the gummies, and the infusers, which a lot of companies haven't spent much time focusing on. I think the infusers could definitely be a big hit. And again, with the teas, I see this as something that people would use on a consistent basis and really build that brand loyalty with TGOD. Now, if we jump back to their website, this is their product page. And I just wanted to scroll through this and show you guys, number one, what the packaging looks like. And then secondly, just the number of products that are offered. So we talked a lot about this on the previous slide. You can see many of these are branded as new products. So they continue to focus on new product launches and R&D, which we'll see later in the video. But I personally feel like they have a very well-rounded product portfolio, as you can see on this page. Now, in terms of their go-to-market strategy and how this company makes money, they really are a cultivator, and they then sell these products to both provincial distributors, traditional retail stores, and medical distributors. So what they've done is actually team up with this Velvet Management Inc., which was created by Canada's largest wine distributor, Philippe Dandurand Wines. And what this allows them to do is leverage a lot of these pre-existing relationships that Velvet Management has built with different boards and provinces across Canada and get their TGOD products into stores and into retail locations at a very effective and fast pace. Now, on the medical side, they focus on wholesale, but on the recreational side, they've actually negotiated supply agreements with every province except PEI, and they've also got into the coveted Quebec market. So Quebec has traditionally been one of the hardest provinces to get exposure to here in Canada, and TGOD has managed to get their products in those locations. And what this national distribution allows them to do is really take advantage of all MJ markets from coast to coast here in Canada. Now, in addition to the Canadian market, they also have a wholly owned subsidiary of TGOD, which is called Hemp Poland, and this was Poland's first company to obtain a state license for hemp cultivation and CBD oil derivatives. Now, they've also created an extraction process for hemp fibers using carbon dioxide extraction, which we saw with the Valens company, but this is very innovative in this space and plays a big part in TGOD's global strategic hemp division, allowing them to get exposure in Poland, Germany, and the UK. And of course, sticking with the brand, you can see that this is certified organic products as well, so that's great and continues to maintain that high caliber, high quality product that TGOD is so well known for. Now, I wanted to take a look at this slide as well. So you may have seen this EU GMP certification on a number of companies' presentation decks, and it allows the company holding this certification to export their products internationally. Now, because we've seen this in a number of decks, I wanted to take a second and just explain what this GMP or Good Manufacturing Process certification really means. And essentially, it's the highest recognition available by companies operating in the pharmaceutical space. So it's very difficult and coveted to get this certification, and that's why it's so valuable for these MJ companies to put in their investor decks and corporate filings. Now, in order to import or export MJ, you need to have one of these licenses, and that requires all the materials that go into your product and the facilities that you work in or maintain to have these extremely rigorous and high standards met by the certification board. So this is another angle of the TGOD company that's really exciting, and it allows them to gear up for international expansion outside of just Canada and the United States. So now that we've looked at their product portfolio, their distribution strategy, and some of the certifications they've received for their facilities, I wanted to actually look at the facilities where they grow this product. So they have two currently in operation. One's located in Ontario, the other in Quebec. So again, in that province, it's very difficult to get exposure to. The Ontario property is just about 170,000 square feet with annual capacity of 17.5 thousand kilograms. kilograms. Now in 2021, they're expecting between 12 and 14,000 kilograms from this facility, so it's not quite up to full capacity, but they are getting close. Now this property is fully licensed by Health Canada, of course. It's got end-to-end capabilities, right from breeding the plants, flowering, drying, processing, packaging, and shipping capabilities, all under one roof. So this is extremely exciting and very valuable for this type of company. We just saw the acquisition of Supreme by Canopy, and I think a big reason they were acquired was because of their 7 acres growing facility, and this facility here reminds me a lot of that property. Now when we say they're fully licensed, we mean cultivation, sales, oil extraction, and oil sales, which is renewed until 2022, so they've got just about 2 years of licensing guaranteed for this facility. And then you see again the EU Good Manufacturing Process certification at this location. Now their second facility in Valleyfield, Quebec is 1.3 million square feet, so almost 10 times bigger than the Ontario location. It's got annual capacity or designed capacity of 185,000 kilograms, and again is fully licensed and completed greenhouse growing space. Now a couple things that are interesting with this location, they've got 24 unique zones as of May 20th in the building, so you can really control those microclimates or microenvironments for each of the different strains. They've reconfigured a portion of the building for a processing hub to allow those MJ 2.0 products to be created, like the edibles, the topicals, the creams, the gummies, and they've also signed a co-packing agreement with other LPs in the area, so companies that don't have the space or maybe the licenses required to manufacture certain products are actually going to do so at this facility under the TGOD roof, and this is going to give them additional revenue streams and help offset some of the fixed costs for maintaining a site of this size. So both of these facilities are very impressive to me as an investor. Number one, that they're built out, they're massive scale, and they're fully licensed. It's just a home run on all three fronts, and I think the most impressive of all of this is both facilities are fully organic certified, and this is really the only company that I've seen that's producing organic MJ with any type of scale like this. Now why that matters to me as an investor is because organic products command a premium price, and you see this all the time in grocery stores. I was just shopping for avocados today. Organic avocados were 30% more than non-organic. People love to pay more for good quality products that they can feel proud and healthy about consuming. And if you look down on the left here, you can see that non-organic MJ on average commands about $5.40 per gram versus organic, which is just about double or a 93% premium for that organic stamp. And TGOD expects to maintain a minimum 30% premium on their products over traditional MJ moving forward because of this lack of supply in the premium organic flower market in Canada. And in a lot of my other videos, you guys have heard me talking about my concerns with the LPs or producers of MJ, saying that their margins are going to get compressed and this space is getting more and more competitive. The wild card with TGOD is that the organic certification is very difficult to get, and because of that barrier to entry, the supply for organic MJ is very constrained, and this allows them to command better prices and really protect that elite or exclusive status that this company currently has. And one additional point on that, because their facilities are so big and they can produce this stuff on such a massive scale, their costs to grow actually aren't much different than other traditional LPs. So they're getting an increased selling price, but they don't have an increased input price. And that's a phenomenal equation for me as a potential investor in TGOD. So as promised, and to close out the video here, you guys, I wanted to talk about their year-end and Q4 results, which were just released on March 9th. And there's definitely a couple of points that I wanted to call out here. So they have now appointed a permanent CEO for the company. The new CEO's name is Sean Bovingdon. And if we take a look at his actual resume, you can see that he's got 30 plus years finance experience across a variety of different industries in both the public and private sector. So he held the position of CFO at Toronto Hydro Corporation, as well as a number of different oil and gas companies, and he's been involved with public equity in excess of $1 billion and debt financing projects in excess of $2 billion. So he knows how to raise money. He's got good experience in the corporate industry, and he's been around the block. So this guy knows how to run and manage the books on massive companies, and I think that's really encouraging as the MJ space starts to evolve and mature, to have that kind of a track record and experience behind you. So the next point here now gets into the numbers. So fourth quarter revenue came in just below $11 million, which represents a 91% increase quarter over quarter. Canadian MJ revenue came in at $8.5 million, which is a 122% increase over the prior quarter. General and administration expenses were reduced by nearly 60% compared to the same period in 2019. So you can see that they're really starting to control their costs, and that's the impact of this new CEO who has all that financial experience behind him. This is actually a pretty common trend we're seeing in the MJ space. A lot of companies were spending a lot of money over the last couple of years, and they've now had to cut back and really control those costs until their companies are able to become profitable. And the final point here is full year revenue, which came in just north of $24.5 million, which is 120% year over year. So they're showing triple digit revenue growth and starting to get their costs under control. So for me as a potential investor, those are very bullish signals and really start to make this company look attractive. They then go on to say they've increased their sales volume across all product lines across Canada, and they've significantly ramped up production at both their Ontario and Quebec facility. And because of the scale of those facilities, they still aren't at maximum capacity, but it's great to see that the demand for these products is forcing them to increase production. Now, a couple final points here. Subsequent to Q4, or after the quarter ended, they actually have now started distributing their highly Dutch organic Afghan black hash. So this is now available in BC, Manitoba, Quebec, and Newfoundland, with plans to expand distribution across Canada into other provinces. They've launched Amsterdam Sativa, which is a new strain available in 3.5, 15 and 28 gram or 1 ounce packages. They talk about their Ripple gummies and some of the new flavors that are coming to market, which include honey and mango, with a planned launch date of Q2 2021. And then the final point of interest here, and this is awesome because we just talked about Namaste Technologies, but they've actually signed a supply agreement to have their products listed on the CanMart platform. So that's the Namaste e-commerce platform, and one of my critiques in that video was that they needed to get additional products onto that platform. So it's awesome to see that TGOD products are now going to be available there. And again, I've spoken about this in some of my other videos, but it's so cool to see all these companies interact with each other, especially as an investor in multiple different companies in this space. Now, under this agreement, they've actually signed a 2-year term, and they're going to feature their certified medical organic offering, including the dried flower itself, the Ripple dissolvable powder, the gummies, and the teas. So it's not like they have just one SKU available on the CanMart platform. They're going to have a number of them available, which I think is awesome for both companies. So overall, you guys, to wrap this video up, I think TGOD, or the Green Organic Dutchman, definitely received a lot of attention a few years back. Its share price got run up to extreme levels that weren't sustainable, and the market has now started to realize that this company had a lot of growing to do and needed to really mature in terms of their cultivation process and their product portfolio. Now, over the last couple of years, I think TGOD has really done both of those. The 2 facilities that they now have are extremely impressive and industry leading, not only because they're organically certified, but because of the scale of production at these 2 locations. In terms of their product portfolio, I think they've got a very impressive lineup. I think their packaging and branding is awesome, and they've got a number of innovative products like the teas and the dissolvables that I haven't seen a lot of other companies dabble or compete in at this point in time. Now, admittedly, TGOD is not a stock that I've followed closely. I didn't really know a lot about this company, and prior to making this video, I kind of thought it was a pump and dump stock that had got way ahead of itself and was now just thrown to the wayside. After going through this due diligence and creating this video, I do have a new outlook outlook on TGOD, and I definitely think this is one to keep an eye on, especially at these current prices. I could see this as another potential buyout candidate by one of these big $10 billion plus market cap MJ companies as a way to gain exposure into the organic brand portfolio. Now, this is one I'm going to be putting on my buy list. You can see there's pretty good support in that mid 20, 25, 28 cent price point on the Canadian listing side. So I may wait for a slight pullback, but ultimately as a long-term investor, it doesn't really matter if you get in at 26 cents, 27, 28, 30. If this stock does get bought out for a 50, 60% premium or remains on its own and is allowed to scale production and their product lineup like management plans to or talks about, I think this could definitely get back up into the $300, $400, $500 million market cap in terms of Canadian dollars. Now that's it for today's video, you guys. Please make sure you take a second to like the video. It really does help out the channel and it helps get this content to other people who might find value. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please take a second to do so. And let me know in the comments section below if you currently hold TGOD shares, what you think of this analysis, and how you think this company stacks up to others in the small cap MJ space. On a final note, make sure you guys have a great rest of your day.